So today our concept is connecting to the database, the pandas and database. Okay, just enter. Yes, okay. So basically, I'm going to take this PostgreSQL, which is mostly we use in the Python technologies. So that is the reason I am taking the Postgres. So if I want to work on the Postgres database, I need a driver. This is we already spoken in the previous videos. I want to install this PSYCOBG2 first. Okay, but to install this one, we have to go to the Anaconda prompt on install, and we can write the PSYCOPG2, and this will absolutely works. If not, there is another command, and we can use the install. This is the latest. If you want to install the PSYCOPG2 in the Anaconda environment, you can use -c Anaconda and this name. You can cross check again. So 99% this first command will work. If not, you can try with the second command. Okay, want to check the version, you just check it. It is normally I do it. Okay, otherwise it is not required. Just I'm saying to confirm that. Okay, so this is the version which I'm using it. Okay, we already done some steps in the previous sessions, right? I'll go to this. If I'm not wrong, this is the way like we are used to connect to the database, right? These sessions we already discussed to connect to the database. That is not our focus point now. So if I want to connect to the database, I can use this connection, and you can write a connection here. The connection, this PSYCOPG2 already there, and connect, and we are connecting to the local host, and the database name is the Boondocks, and the username is the data science user, DS user, and password is the admin. So in my system, I'm using the port number 5433. If you are not using any different port, by default it is 5432. So we already done that. So if you want to cross check this connection is established or not, once you see the object, that means connection is perfectly established. So what is the next thing I can do here? So already there is a data, there is a table here, right? So you can go back to this, the code which what we have done in the previously. We created one table name called the customer. There we have the ID, name, age, address, loan amount. These details are there. So similar way, I want to connect to this table and get the data. So what to do now? Next step is, okay, so we are going to use the pointer. So this is the same code which we can use it. So pointer dot, so next one is the pointer. So what is this? There is a connection. This connection will have the cursor is nothing but a driver manager. So where this driver manager can connect to the database, right, from the Python to database. So that is the job of the cursor through the connection. So connection is established at cell number 3, and in this cell we are actually using the pointer. So with this pointer, I'm going to execute the code, execute the query, SQL query, whether it is a create table or like it is insert the data or update the data or delete the data, whatever the DML operation or DDL operation if you want to do, we actually use this pointer. So if you could look at this in previously, we use something called pointer of execute, and inside that there is a one query we need to write here. So pointer dot execute, and we can mention the query name here. So what is the query name? So there is already, we know that table name is the customer. I will use this select star from customer, and this is fair enough, right? So this data will be written the something like, okay, what data it will return? It will return the rows basically, right? Am I correct? It returns some data. Okay, or like we can say it is a SQL data, fetch data. Okay, if you can go back to the sessions we discussed, first two sessions, these are all basically we discussed, right? And you can see this, the pointer execute cursor, and after that in the execute command we are giving the query. So we don't need to mention this SQL data like this. We'll execute this command. If it is the insert query, we have to store that one into the one variable. Here we don't want. So then we can use there is a 3 functions are there. Anybody tell me that those 3 functions in the Python to get the data from the table? If I want to get the data from the table, if any SQL database use, whether it is a SQLite 3, Oracle, or MySQL, even Postgres, what is the
Fetch many, and uh,
fetch all? Right, you are
yeah,
right.
fetch all.
Okay.
Right. So you can give any command here, right? So row pointer dot fetch many. Okay, if I want specific rows from the table, I'll give the specific number here. 3 rows will come, or 4 rows, or 5 rows. It's up to you. No, I don't want to mention like this. If you want to mention the fetch all, you just give the fetch all command. There are 3 functions only to get the data. So to get the data here, if I go and enter, I got the data here, the rows. So basically I'm fetching the data from the database. Okay, fine. So basically what we are doing, right, we are like retrieving the data from the database through the connections. This is how it is working it. But the problem is, okay, this rows is there, but I want to give this data to my data frame pandas. So let me go and import the pandas here, then we'll pass this information. So it's very simple now. Import, and we can give the command called pandas, right? So in this pandas, we can use, so if I go and enter the control enter, there is no any issues if I'm not wrong. Yes. And use this PD alias name, I'm just providing it here. So as PD, and in this PD dot, what I'm going to do, guys, I want to read these rows. What is the function I need to give here? Anybody tell me? Is it read CSV? No. Read SQL? No, it is not in SQL. Is it the read what? Is it the read we need to give, or like simply data frame is enough? Shall I give data frame? Okay. If you understand
Yes,
clearly,
because it is a
because
sequence.
exactly, fetch all returns the tuple data. Fetch all returns the tuple by default. Okay, so you can see here it is a tuple. So whole thing is in the form of the list. So basically, the all the rows data is in the each row data is in the tuple, and all the rows are there in the list. It's okay. Let it be a list. Okay, when I'm going to create a data frame, so in this data frame, I can pass these rows. This is what we discussed in the previous sessions, right? So you can give integer, we can give the list, you can give the tuple, but not set. So this is how we can create a data. This is actual data, right? We are pulling from the database. Now this data, if I go and say, see, I got the data now into the data frame. See, you are looking at very 3 rows here. Maybe it will be have the huge columns. Now we think wondering, okay, this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is there. What to do now? There is a columns is there, guys. Okay, columns is equal to, you can mention the column. The first one is, for example, ID, and the next column is, for example, here the name, and the next one is the age. Okay, and if I'm not wrong, the next one is the what is, I forgot actually. So when we are creating this database, what we are given, okay, so address and loan amount, correct, right? So we'll give the same thing now, address, and the last one is the loan amount. Okay, I will tell you there is a pros and cons here when you're using this code. This is fine. What if I have the 120 columns? Are you going to write all these 120 columns here? This is very bad way of writing the code, right? But this is the only way you can do it when you go with this approach. But there is another approach in the Python. You don't need to worry about these columns. Okay, I don't know how many of you heard about some name called SQL Alchemy. So SQLAlchemy is one of the Python package. Any database you use, so that SQLAlchemy is a bridge. Okay, any database we can connect to that one, basically any relational databases. Okay, so SQLAlchemy is one of the warm tool. Again, so if you want to connect to the any like Postgres and all, we can connect. Let me show you that one. Just 1 minute only. I will not take much time, but this is important when you're dealing data with respect to the this one, pandas. Okay, you can see this SQLAlchemy. So here we have there are so many, because I have separate session for this in future. I will talk about this one already. I have the slide for this also, but since I am not getting the time, I am not focused on this matter. But okay, uh, I think somewhere it is there. I will definitely show you that one. Okay, so this SQLAlchemy means I can connect to the multiple relational databases. Okay, so moving on to the code here. Okay, so I will move on to this code. Just you can use the import and SQLAlchemy. So just enter here. If there is any issues, it's fine. But how do you install this one? Same thing. How you are done with the PSY COPG2. Same way you can install the first time conda install, and SQL Alchemy. That's it. There is no big deal here. Okay, so once you're done with this import SQL Alchemy, we'll do right import SQL Alchemy is there. So instead of this, what I will do right from SQL Alchemy and import, there is only one function which is important is create engine. So we have to use this create engine. The create engine here we need to pass the credentials of our database. So for example, I'm going to take the separate one is called the DB string. So DB string is equal to, then here we need to mention the what is the database type you are taking up. First one is the database type. So our database type is the PostgreSQL, right? So PostgreSQL, your syntax is first one we need to write a database type. So database type. So next one colon. Then the colon is not required. If okay, colon is required slash slash, and we can write the username. So after that the password. Okay. So the password is very important, and then we can write at the rate of host name. Host name can be like Amazon Web Services or Azure or like local host, anything we can mention here, the host name and the port number. So if you're not given the port number, by default it will take the 5432, something like this, or in my case it is 5433. And after that we can mention the database name. Okay, it's fair enough, I think. So spelling is wrong here. Postgres. Mhm. Postgres SQL and colon slash slash. What is the username? Here username is the DS user. So I will take the same thing here, DS user, and the password is what? And admin always in my case. And what is the next one? Localhost is the 127.0.01, but I will give here localhost only. Let it be, and colon 5433, and after this we'll give the database name. What is the database name, guys? Boondocks. Okay, so I'll give the same name here is the Boondocks. So this is the DB string. I will provide these DB strings to the create engine, which is the inbuilt function inside the SQL Alchemy. So once we give this DB constant, then we'll give the function name is called the connect, which is a Python function basically, right? Here also we have done the connect. You can see the PSYCOPG to connect. Instead of the library.connect, we are using the engine. This engine you can use any type engine. It could be like Postgres engine, it is like MySQL engine, any engine we can provide it. Why I'm talking about in Pandas this story, it's because when you want to see tomorrow, we don't know any type the client can change or any database. So it is a common bridge to get the data basically, okay, from the DB. So create engine DB string dot get connect, and we can use this one is the CONN or like connection object. So I will give this one as a connection is equal to this. Let me go and enter. Let me see if any issues are there here. So there is no any issues. Connection is established. What if I'm giving the wrong port number here? If I go and enter, you are getting an exception saying that, hey man, you are connected to the wrong. I mean, it is incorrect. So it is giving instruction to you also. You are connected to the 5432 TCP request. Connection is refused. So that instruction is also given. Even if you give the wrong if password or something also will get an information. Okay, this is we are done now. So once connection is established, what we can do it, guys, same thing. I don't want to change any extra code, same code I'm going to do it here. So instead of writing the, so insert the cell below, again same connection dot cursor pointer dot execute select star from customer rows, and these rows again I will give it to the same way in Pandas. We already imported the Pandas, so no need of importing again. So I will insert the cell below, just give this code here, same thing, but this time I will not provide the columns. Okay, this time I will not provide the columns. Now I'm going to enter the columns here. What we have got here now, data, right? But still 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is there, right? But I am not getting the column names. How you can get the column names? It's very simple, guys. So what I'm going to do, right? Instead of writing the code like this, I will use the pandas read. Okay. So let me go to the control Z. Instead of data frame, what I will do, right? PD dot. Okay. PD dot. What is the table name? What is the function name? It is a read underscore SQL table. Okay, read underscore SQL underscore table. Okay, then you give this one read underscore table. Here you need to mention the table name. So what is the table name? Then we don't need all this drama. Okay, do you think all this information is required? I don't want. Just to establish the connection, you pass the table name here. Simple. That is what I am trying to explain here. What is the significance of the SQL Alchemy when you're using with the pandas? So previously we are writing the cursor and the query and a lot of things here. But what is the significance of the SQL Alchemy? You just give the table name, the customer, and only for it will read this table. Okay, read SQL table customer, and we have to give the connection. If without giving this connection, it won't work, because this is the connection you established. You are just making a relationship between this table, so just make the connection here, right? So then you just enter the data here. So you can see you don't need to worry about the columns. Even 100 columns, thousands columns are there, it will fetch it. So what is happening, guys? Very simple. This code we have written everything hard coded. First connection we established, after that we are creating the cursor pointer, and with the pointer we executing the query. The query can be anything, not only select star from, but mostly we give the data to the pandas, that is the select data only, I mean fetch data only. So we are getting the fetch data here, and again we are giving to the pandas data frame. Okay, now you can ask me the question, why you are giving to the data frame, Raja? Can you please go ahead and give this one to the directly to this same way like what we have done here? Can you do like this, guys? So let me go and try this read underscore SQL table. So what I will do right here, I will mention this one read underscore SQL table. But the problem is we already fetched the data. Even if you pass the rows here, for example, this is wrong. Okay, because it's saying that something is missing. That something is nothing but connection. Whenever you use the read SQL table, we need first one the table, next one is the connection. Even though if I write here, so this is not the way we can write it, or else you can mention the directly table name here. So that is a customer. This is not the correct one. If you can see, this is coming up now, because this pandas read SQL table is taking the connection from these guys. Latest connection object is the connection. But if you try without SQL Alchemy, you'll get an exception saying that you have to implement the SQL Alchemy. Okay, this connection object is the latest connection object which is taking up here. That is the reason it is not coming. For example, if you give this is the connection one, and you change everything here connection one, and if we execute this is okay. I'm changing it and show you now connection one, and this is also connection one, and this is I'm just changing to the connection one. We got error, right? This is the error I am saying that. Okay, so previously it was taking this engine connection. Okay, now you see that read underscore SQL table only supported for the SQL Alchemy connection level. So go to the documentation, go to the API references. In the API references, go to the here there is a SQL. Click on the SQL. You see that there is a table, query, and read SQL. So read SQL query is the read the data frame, but we actually use the command called read SQL table. If I go and click on this, this is already explained here, table name and the connection. And if you want to have this is what I'm trying to say, that if you have the multiple schemas in the same server, day one and day two, you can mention the schemas here. Okay, and there is a columns we are already using it here, but if you are not specified the columns, it's fine. When you are working with the like SQL Alchemy, it's perfectly works. The columns is one attribute, and table name is one attribute, connection is an attribute, schema is also there, and index columns, if you want to provide the index columns also you can provide it, something like this. So all these information which is there, okay, when you're dealing with the databases. So any questions here? Okay.
Raja, when we have multiple schemas, as you shown, we need to give two schemas, schema one, something like schema, another schema. But when you read the table, how it knows like which table is from which schema?
This is we have to write in the if else statement directly. It is not possible, because if you look at here, the schema is the string, default is the none. So if it is something is the list, I can provide the multiple schemas in the list, it works. But unfortunately, but this schema is accepts only one table, uh, sorry, one schema only at a time, but we can write if else conditions. Okay.
Okay.
But that I will tell you in our case study. It will is really useful how to read the multiple databases and fetch the data into this.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. So this is really useful, guys. Okay, it's really useful when how to connect to the database that we already know it, how to fetch the data. It is the same case for the Oracle database also, because most of the times we see the Oracle databases, right? So if you're working on the Oracle databases, we can connect to this. Okay, just one minute only. I'm refreshing this concept. So we are actually downloaded the PSV COPG2 version, and after that we connected to the database tables, and after that we are connected to the cursor to fetch the records. We have three functions: fetch all, fetch many, and fetch one more is fetch one record, specific records, or all the records. But here in my case I am fetching all the records. I'm giving all the records to the data frame. Okay, all the rows, it's nothing but, and I'm specifying the column names. But this is a hectic job when you're doing in the real-time projects, because as we are going to through the lot of data, and also there will be so many columns, not like 6 columns, 5 columns. So in that case, this is not the preferred approach. So we have to go with the SQL Alchemy, which is one of the best approach to deal with especially relational databases. And now you can see here we are established the connection through the create engine function, and here DB string we need to pass PostgreSQL DB user. It is the same case for the any database use. For example, if you're using the SQLite3, you can mention the SQLite3, especially SQLite :/ username, admin, and host name. So most of the times we deal data in the Amazon, you're hosting the database in the Amazon servers. So you can replace this local host with the Amazon, and we can try this one, SQL Alchemy. It works very well. So connect to the database, and you can pass a connection to the read SQL table. You have to understand only this line, cell number 13. Okay, so read SQL table mandatory is 2 attributes. Attribute 1 is table name, attribute 2 is connection, because then only you can make a relationship between this cell and this cell, right? I mean to say that making the relationship between the SQL Alchemy and the one which you are using the connection here. So always remember, guys, this is something read SQL table. We use as table name here. Okay, so let's go with the syntax here. Can I give the more than one table? Do you see anything here in Pandas? Okay, what is this? Comparison is coming up. I closed that one. No. Okay, so if you can see here, the table name is the str only. So only one table name we can provide, not more than that. Okay, because now we will ask you the question, hey Raja, can I join the 2 tables, 3 tables? Can I bring the data to the data frame? Anybody answer this question, guys? See, it is a customer table. What if I have the 3 tables like customer, products, orders? Assume that there is an e-commerce application which you are building. There are the customers, products, and orders. There will be relationship, right? The customer can order the multiple products. Okay, customer can have the multiple orders. There is a many to many relationship, one to many relationships will be there, right? So how to bring those relationship data into the data frames? It is a straight away we are bringing the one table data well and manner, it's fine, but it is not the case in my real-time projects, right? Am I correct? So in real
Yes.
time, yeah. So we don't bring only one customer data. We have to bring the relationship data. So how to deal with this? What is the significance of the read SQL table? Is it going to solve the problem? It is not going to solve the problem straight away, but you can go back to the yesterday session. You will understand this. So this is one data. If we can say that it is a data one, or we can say it is a customer data, and you can read the same pd.read SQL table. So for example, this is data one. Okay, I'm writing it is a data one. Just enter. Okay, again we got this. Okay, here why this issue we got? Okay, let me execute. This connection is taking up because one database, one connection only, right? So that is the reason. Okay, so data one we got now. So again, what we'll do, right? Data two, and again you can give the same command and read another table. So this time instead of the customer, I will give the products. But of course, I'm not created the product. So we can say that this is the data two. So what we have, 2 data frames. What is the function, guys, to join the 2 data frames? We spoke in yesterday.
Dot join.
Yes, exactly. Dot join. Now you understand the significance of the join function now. So basically joins we are applying on the data frame, not on the tables. We'll bring the data from the tables and we'll apply it.